Hey guys, and welcome to a special edition of the Pagnotta Take on Sports. As you can see, my best friend is back with me, Josh Marlowe, which means we are officially doing the long-awaited North Carolina Tar Heels preview. We're going to go in-depth on our favorite team in college football. We were going to try to do this earlier this year when we went to meet the Heels, but it ended up working out that we actually got to interview Larry Fedora after a walkthrough, so it worked out a little bit better for us. So we'll start on the offensive side of the ball. Clearly, we're going to have to start with the quarterback position. And when we look at the quarterback position, of course, we're going to start at the top with Marquise Williams, who does end up returning. Many people believe he is going to be the full-time starter this year, as opposed to what he did last year, which was split duties with Mitch Trubisky. And now he seems to be the guy that's going to run the show. He has an outside shot at maybe being the ACC Player of the Year, and maybe an extreme outside shot of being a Heisman guy if he can find, a way to lead us to some significant victories. So what do you think about Keys coming into this year?
Well, it's his team now. He's always split time when he first came back 2 years ago, and then last year. He's got full command of the offense. It's his team, and he's really put it on the shoulders because he wants the pressure, and he came to Carolina to make Carolina good again, and he knows what that means, and he's got there's still some things passing wise he's got to fix, and we hope to not have to run him as much because he's led the team in rushing 2 years in a row.
Yeah, that can't happen.
I think he's a great player. His skill set fits well in what we want to do offensively with the spread and the option game that the quarterback needs to have in our offense. I think he's going to have a good year, a special year. Like you said, he could win ACC Player of the Year, could win the Heisman, or not win the Heisman, but have some talk if the defense can improve and the Tar Heels win more than 7 games. Like if they're sitting there contending for a championship, ACC wise, he would enter the Heisman because you look at the numbers he put up last year, and for 5-6 games he was split time with Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, there was a time there where they actually thought Mitch was going to probably be our full-time starter.
So and he still put up he had a 22-to-1 touchdown to turnover ratio in the red zone, which is great.
Yeah.
He set records, I believe, for total offense in a season and all sorts of stuff. And so he's just a special player, and I know we're glad to have him. We love watching him play, and I think he's gonna have a really good year.
I think from one thing, I before we move on and talk about Mitch Trubisky just a little bit, the thing that I've noticed a little bit about Keese as well is his professionalism with the media, how he handles questions. He's not rattled by these guys asking him questions.
Right.
He's professional. He's not that guy that's cocky. And I really like that about him. I think to me, he doesn't let his mistakes get to him. I mean, he threw that interception last year against Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And normally for guys like that would have been the season. Okay, that's it. We quit. We're not doing it.
He came back the next week and set the Carolina record for completions in a game against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, the man knows how to bounce back and beat a team that we should not have beaten.
Yeah,
that
team won the Orange Bowl. So
yeah, I mean,
we beat a damn good team.
Yeah, exactly. No, perfectly fine. So we looked at Keys. Now, a guy that we saw. Keese was out injured in the preseason. He did have a hip injury, so that's something that's in the back of our minds. He's fine right now. He's looked fine. Coach Fedora said he's going to be all right. But we saw Mitch Trubisky when we went to the scrimmage here in Charlotte. He was the starter per se. And from what I've seen at least, just looking back last year to this year, you can see the progression.
Yeah.
The kid's got a big arm.
Yeah.
We know he's accurate. I think last year the pressure of being that young really got to him. I mean, the game I noticed the most was the game against Virginia Tech where he threw a pick that there was no one even close to it. Right. And I just said to myself, what happened? Because, I mean, coming into last year, we were huge supporters of him. We actually wanted him to start over Keese. We were rooting him on. And I don't think they can go off his freshman year and say, okay, well, this guy is definitely not the guy we're going to have to move on even after Keese leaves. I think he's definitely the guy that's next. But he is behind Keese. I think Trubisky's extremely talented, and I think when you look at it, if we were to need him for some reason, if Keese did get injured, I think Mitch could fit in that role well. And I think
because you go back to the Virginia game, he threw the touchdown pass to give us the lead. You know, and the coaching staff and Larry has been very adamant about it. They have faith in him that if something was to happen to Marquise,
that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah,
they have no problem putting Trubisky out there. He's not as mobile.
But we knew that when we recruited him. That was for his arm. Yeah.
So, you know, but yeah, he looked a lot better in the spring.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, he not many redshirt freshmen, you know, are supposed to be competing for a starting job with a guy who's a junior with the experience and everything.
Yeah.
You know, I thought we waited too late to give the offense fully over to Keese, but you know,
should have been after San Diego State.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Mitch, the thing I did like about that is even though, we're saying Keese should have gotten the deal, Mitch did not, like, it wasn't like Mitch backed down. Mitch kept fighting, and he played pretty well.
And you know, whenever the staff decided to go with Keese, it wasn't like, you know, Trubisky came out and didn't support the decision. You know, he was very involved, and that's being a professional, and it's working hard, and, you know, he probably has a greater grasp of the playbook, and the game, you know, has slowed down in that terms that where he just sees everything a little bit better and feels a lot more comfortable in his own skin. So I think, you know, once it's fully his, you know, he's going to put up some numbers that we expected him to put up. So
all right, do want to mention, we're going to mention almost all the players on the roster, just a little bit. I want to mention, we saw them both when we went to the Charlotte scrimmage as well, Caleb Henderson and Anthony Ratliff-Williams. From what I saw from Caleb Henderson,
it was shaky.
It was, there were some moments that were a little bit scary, but I think, I don't know what to think about that performance. I know it's a spring game.
Yeah.
And from what Coach Fedora has said, and what from Coach Heckendorf has said, he's looked better. So I don't know if maybe we just caught him on a bad day. I sure hope so. And by no means are we saying that we don't think he's a good quarterback. You know, he was highly recruited, but from what we saw, you know, there was a little bit of room for improvement. I think Anthony Ratliff-Williams looks the part, definitely.
That kid's special.
He's a great runner. The only thing that was a little bit maybe controversial for me, and what people would probably look at as being a problem for him, I don't think he'll have a problem with it, is his throwing motion. He threw a little bit. It's sort of similar to like how Dak Prescott throws.
Yeah.
It's not an
almost
NFL
like
throwing motion.
Pushing the ball
kind
down
of,
the field.
but he still was able to be accurate from what we saw against our defense. Other guys, there's another true freshman coming in, Nathan Elliott. He's a left-hander. We didn't see him in that scrimmage, but we saw him in Meet the Heels, and he looks like a big dude. I mean, he looks like he's built up. Yeah, so he's been working.
He's more of a mobile guy. I've read that Heckendorf, you know, thinks he's, you know, because we signed 2 quarterbacks, and not many colleges do that, and, you know, they're wanting to build depth, and, you know, he brings a little bit more mobility kind of thing, you know, and he's big, you know, he's got an arm. The lefty, that's always a cool dimension to have, because the defensive schemes are totally different.
I mean, you told me, like, when we were in Chapel Hill that he had won the state championship.
Yeah, I mean, the guy won a state championship in Texas. So,
and he's a 3-star recruit. Like, he's not even a headliner at Ratliff-Williams. I've watched Ratliff-Williams because he played at Butler, so I've seen him on before, and I've seen he's a heck of a player. And then another guy that's on the roster, Manny Miles. I don't know a whole lot about him. He's a true freshman. We'll just mention him. You never know. This guy could come up. He could be the next superstar, and we just have no idea who he is. So might as well throw him out there. From there, we'll move on to a position where we had a little trouble last year, really finding someone that could
and it's our greatest
step into the role.
Position.
We are loaded there. I mean, I would start with the starter, but I don't know who to go with. So I'm just going to go with T.J. Logan. We'll start by talking with him. Of course, as we know, highlight game in our mind was the Duke game.
Duke and Georgia Tech.
He took over in those games. I think he has that blend of enough power but with the speed. He's more of a speed back, which is what I like. And, you know, we know he has the talent. We've seen him run before.
He ran for like 500 yards in the state championship game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's a great running back. He's extremely talented. It's just, I don't know if maybe it's the pressure of everyone else being around him. I think, you know, if I'm TJ Logan, I've got to have the mindset when I come out that I don't really, you know, I know we're supposed to be team players, but I'm here, and I know you got to feel that you're the guy.
Yeah.
You can do it, and I believe he can. I think he's our best running back. Looking at how he runs, he's our best running back. And I think he's going to have a good year this year. And I also want to see a little bit of his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's pretty good, but I haven't seen a whole lot of that. So maybe if they can work that in, and I know they've been talking about this A-back, B-back system within the last couple of days that we've seen, so he could factor in there. I'll throw out one more name, and then we'll talk about them for a little bit. I'm going to go, probably our second one would be Elijah Hood. Especially with the A-back, B-back system. The big guy, big running back. Last year, started the year out pretty well, and then kind of just disappeared. Like, we didn't even know what happened to him.
He had some form of injury that just was never reported or discussed, or...
Yeah,
we saw him at Notre Dame, and then we never saw him again.
Yeah, didn't see him till the bowl game. He came back against Rutgers, but he played a little bit, but didn't play a whole lot. And again, this is another guy that from being in the Charlotte area, we've known that this guy. I mean, I remember sitting there watching this guy play for Charlotte Catholic, and he's great. I think he's going to be great because I like the way he runs. He's a downhill runner. You hand him the ball, he's going straight through the hole.
He's going to lower the boom, you know.
Which is why, you know, as Carolina fans, I remember saying to you last year, when we didn't see him on the field, why are we not seeing this guy on the field? We didn't know he had the injury. And we're like, dude, this guy has been running pretty well for us. He's probably our best running back early in the year. So I think he's definitely a guy to keep an eye on. What is your take on Logan and Hood here?
You know, Logan's got everything. He's got the speed, you know, and he's also the ability to be physical. I think the reason why the running back struggled early was first off, we trailed a lot early in the game, so we had to get in pass mode, and the offensive line was in flux.
True. You're right about that. You're right about that.
And if your offensive line's not with chemistry and everything, cohesion, your running game's not going to work. And you know, but when it's all put together, it looks beautiful. A la what Logan did against Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
You know, he scored the game-winning touchdown, and then the Duke game. You know, now we ran wide all over the Dukies, but you know that's the hardest I think I've seen him run since he's been on campus.
I mean, we were shocked watching that game. We were like, "Who is this guy?"
And you know, with Hood, you know, he's got talent. I mean, the guy decommitted from Notre Dame to come play for us. So he's got talent.
Exactly. Yep.
You know, he wants to be here. You know, hopefully the injury's healed, and you know the offensive line can play better, and then the A-back, B-back thing can work. Like, I'm thinking maybe that's going to be like some triple option kind of concept, or just kind of something where, you know, you both put them out there because they have two different skill sets.
That's what I'm thinking, because we really just, they have not given us any information. All they're saying is they're going to run A-back, B-back, and when I hear that, you think Georgia Tech, which I'm really hoping we're not going under center. I'm hoping not, right?
We're going to force it down his throat until you stop us running the football.
So, from there, I think then you got to look at some of the veteran guys that have been here. Romar Morris is a senior. When you look at Romar, I think he is basically what you would call our pure speed guy. He's not going to run you over, but if you can get him out on the edges, he can be dangerous.
Yeah, he's like the home run threat. You know.
Exactly. And, I mean, you know, he's been there. He's got the most experience out of all of these guys.
Yeah.
So I think they definitely got to look at him. He's got to be the leader on the field of these guys. He's been there the longest, like I said. The speed, I think, is going to be the main factor for him. And then you look at Chris Francis, of course, we all remember the scary injury that he had last year returning a kick. We saw him at Meet the Heels. We asked him if you're all right. He said that his leg is healing fine, and he's actually feeling better than before. So hopefully that is true. He can end up working in there. With Francis, it's more of a question mark. We don't really know what he is because he hasn't had enough snaps to get a feel of what he is. I think he's the kind of guy that, like,
he's like if there's like a possession running back, that's him. Like he's only going to get you like 3, 4, 5 yards. He's not really going to run away from you. He's not really going to run you over, but he gets you the little yards. And an offense needs that. I think if he cuts his hair, he'd be a little bit quicker. That's a whole different topic. But with Romar,
still love the locks though. Gotta love them.
With Romar, I think Larry and Latrell, they got to work on getting him outside because he's kind of too small to be inside. And the speed, because our receivers block so well on the outside. You get them on the outside, not many teams are going to catch that kind of speed.
My thing would be maybe think about lining him up as a receiver in some of these.
Kind of like a DeAnthony Thomas kind of guy.
Sort of,
just kind of move him around.
We're not saying he's as talented as he is. We would love to believe that, and he's talented. But put him out there maybe with someone like a Bug Howard or Quinshot blocking for him, get a screen play. I mean, because there's not enough room in the backfield. There's so many guys.
There's too many carries for not enough guys.
Yeah. I mean, because then you look. I mean, you got Charles Brunson, who we saw last year. I saw him personally at the Liberty game, and I think he's an extremely hard worker. I absolutely love the way Charles Brunson runs the ball.
He brings that true walk-on mentality.
Yeah,
he's got to fight to earn everything he wants.
Yeah, and he's done a heck of a job while he's been there. I think he deserves some carries this year, but then you got to look, and this is a guy they're saying could play significant snaps as Tyson Williams.
He may be the most talented guy on the roster.
He's probably our most talented recruit from last year, from this past year. We saw him in Charlotte, and we thought he was great. But this is what I think really solidified it. We asked Coach Fedora, which if you guys want to see that, we do have our interview on my page. We were there. We interviewed him. And he told us, when we asked about the recruits, that the most talented offensive guy, recruit-wise, was Tyson Williams. And I believe he is too. And they have said, through articles that we read, he's going to get carries as a true freshman. I think he might be Hood on I'm not going to say steroids because that's probably a bad thing to say.
Yeah.
Miracle water, as Russell Wilson would say. But, I think he's a bigger version of Hood. I think he's a better version of Hood, which is scary.
He's got, the speed, the physicality.
Yes.
He's got great knowledge. He can follow his blocks. He knows when to hit the hole and how to hit the hole. He's just talented.
And he's a true freshman.
Yeah.
We got a long way to go with him in there. And that's nuts. Another guy, we met him at Meet the Hills as well, Darius Graves. I don't know how he's going to factor in. He's a true freshman from Greensboro, so I don't know a whole lot about him. But
it's interesting the depth that the Tar Heels have built. And this past recruiting class was the first time we were on full scholarship.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
And we didn't even sign a max class.
Exactly.
So to have at a minimum 5 quality running backs that could play at a lot of other Division I schools says a lot about our recruiting.
Yeah.
And the talent
about Larry.
Yeah,
especially.
And the talent that we can attract to Chapel Hill.
Okay, so from there, we probably move on to our favorite position on this offense.
Yeah.
The wide receiver position. We said we're stacked at running back. When you look at it, we may be even more stacked here. You look at our best receiver. I don't know who I'm going to start with. So I'm just going to start with the guy that holds records.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start with Quinshot Davis. Now, again, another scary injury, extremely scary injury.
That was ugly.
It was really bad. But, again, at Meet the Heels, we asked him. He said he's fine. He's looked good. The thing about Quinshot Davis is he's not going to be that dominant receiver. He's a
possession guy.
He's a possession guy, and he is a red zone threat. That's the main area you got to look for him.
Yeah, with the height and the strength, the ability to go up and fight for loose balls or jump balls is just
one of a couple guys that are 6'4" on our roster.
We got some trees we plot out there.
I mean, it's his senior year, and that's what I think. I think he's going to use that as motivation.
Yeah.
I think he wants to be the best receiver this year. He wants to show that he's the best receiver. And that, like I said, the height, he's actually got some speed too. He's not the slowest guy.
Right.
So, I think he could definitely factor in big time. Of course, probably our favorite player.
He may be our favorite Tar Heel ever.
Ryan Switzer. We loved him. I mean, the deep routes, that's what he was known for. I mean, he ran them beautifully in the game against Clemson. Just nuts. He ran a great one against Georgia Tech as well.
He had a deep ball that wasn't a touchdown against Duke.
Yes, yeah, I remember that when he laid out. That was
he
pretty
caught
good.
a very important pass at Virginia. You know, that kind of, he ran like a corner kind of route. You know,
If only the only thing that I would wish for Ryan Switzer, and we're talking about this, we'll talk more about him in the punt returning later when we do special teams. The only thing I wish about him was he would become more of that possession receiver, not just that deep threat. He has the talent to do it. I don't know if they just don't want him to do that, if they're telling him, look, we're only using you for a home run threat. But, like, I mean, you look at it, of course, his best plays were deep passes and screen plays because of the speed. My thing with him is I wish they would put him in backfield situations, motion him in, get him the football. If he's not getting the ball, if he has 2 catches and we're in the third quarter, you start running the ball, you start throwing any types of screen patterns, just get him the football.
Because like you could bubble him or motion him out of the backfield and throw a bubble. And there's just so many ways because of his unique skill set to get him, the football. He's too small to trust 8-9 times and throw him across the middle of the field.
Yeah, I know that.
Because he'll get eaten up. So he's kind of you got to get on the outside. But I read an article on him the other day, and he admitted that last year every time he touched the football, he was pressing. He was pressing because he wants to score so bad, but he knows it's not going to happen, and so he knows he's got to work on first catching the football, and then seeing what's there and taking you got to take what defenses give you in football. And he knows that, he
go up the field.
Yeah.
Go up the field. Don't dance. You got to go up the field.
So he's maturing. He led the team in receptions and yards, which was kind of shocking to me.
Yeah.
But
the receptions is what shocks me. Not the yards. He got the yards. Yeah.
Even though he had like 61 catches for only like 735, which was kind of low when you see the net amount of passing yards we had.
But the problem was we spread the ball around.
Yeah. When you have Mac Hollins, Buck.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get
Davis.
next. Mac Hollins, guy that coming into last year, no clue. He caught a touchdown against Liberty. I remember he signed something for me at Meet the Heels.
Yeah.
And I had just gotten Austin Prola sign something for me. And I turned to you and said, who is Mac Hollins? I don't even know who this is.
I didn't either.
And he showed up. And he is one of my favorite players on the team. I love the way he plays. He goes up for the football. The best play for me was his 91-yard touchdown against San Diego State because he not only showed the height, he showed the speed, the length and the speed. I think he may be our most talented receiver on this team this year.
And the thing about that play was Keese overthrew him.
Yeah, and he's so long. Another 6'4" guy. And another guy that was a walk-on. He started as a defensive back.
Yeah.
And now he's a guy that...
long snapper.
Long snapper. That's right. He was a long snapper. That's right. I remember that now. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how people... Like, guarding him is going to be hard. He's the most dangerous threat because his height... He's got lightning speed. Like, he could probably return kicks for us if he needed.
And he's got them kangaroo legs. Like, he just jumps up. Like, I remember playing against Virginia between 2 players, and he just kind of in between them.
Remember, he was the one that caught the touchdown against Duke, right? That one that was thrown to the back. They got the 1 foot down. Yeah.
Fourth and goal from the 1. We throw a fade.
We throw a fader out, and we're sitting there like, what are we doing? And he catches the ball. I was like, this is great. God, it's hard picking... I have a Bug Howard next.
Yeah.
Now, Bug Howard, again, this guy, this is 6'5".
Yeah.
He's huge. The inconsistency of the Bug has been drops.
Yeah.
His hands have been a little bit rough at times. But the thing, and this is a storyline that developed, again, late in camp, they might move him to tight end as well.
Yeah.
With that size, I mean, he weighs 210, so that's not too bad. He would probably need to put on a little more to play tight end.
Yeah,
but
about like 225, 230.
Yeah, somewhere up in that range. But we don't, this could be old weight. But from what I've seen, I mean, this was a guy, when he first came on campus, they thought he was going to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
With the height, he had the speed, enough speed to be a threat. I think the depth of this wide receiving core will hurt his chances, but I think he can prove himself. He's just got to show them. He's got to use that height to his advantage.
Right.
And if he can move to tight end, that'd be great. If he can learn to block, you put a guy that big at tight end, especially in the ACC going against these linebackers, you put whatever linebacker you want on him. He'll go up and out-jump him.
Right.
And Austin Prohl, that's another guy. I think under the radar type player. Not a lot of people, like when you watch film, you're not going to say, okay, we got to be focusing on Prohl. It's going to be Switzer, Hollins, and Davis.
Right.
Prohl's going to be that type of guy. When he gets on the field, I mean, he's a dangerous guy. He's not as fast as Switzer. I think he's that guy that's going to be a possession guy across the field. He's small, and he's that slot receiver that's going to catch the ball. I think he's a reliable guy. I think he could be a guy they got to put in down near the goal line. Yeah. Let him get the football because he's small, but I like his hands. I like his hands. He don't drop many balls that come his way. And then I'm trying to think other than that.
There's a lot of guys like Cabrera, and then we recruited like Millette. There's a bunch of guys who have never seen
Millette. Cabrera,
never seen the field.
My favorite from the spring scrimmage when we went, Thomas Jackson. I love what he did. He was great. I am hoping he gets on the field. Damian Washington, he's a dangerous guy.
Yeah.
Jordan Fialto, he's going to be good. I mean, he likes the Patriots, and that's not really likable. But hey, at least he'll catch the ball that's not deflated.
Right.
And then, we could, some of these other guys that can work their way, Dalton Stogner, Taylor Vapolis, Devin Perry, that's a redshirt player. We haven't even talked. He was extremely talented coming in last year. Dante DiMaggio, I like him as well. And next year we'll get Jordan Cunningham, the transfer from Vandy. That was a nice land in the offseason. So we move on from there. Another group of guys that are going to catch the ball, tight ends. Now, when you look here, the main guy that they are really excited about is moving Kendrick Singleton there. He played wide receiver last year. Now they're moving him to tight end. Yeah.
How tall is he?
He is, 6'4"? 6'2". 6'2", he's 215, but I think that weight will probably go up.
He looks a lot smaller on television.
Yeah, he is. He looked a lot smaller, but they moved him to tight end. Now, he'll play tight end / wide receiver.
Because wasn't he a corner and then became a wide receiver?
No. You're thinking of Kedrick Davis.
That's right.
Davis going from wide receiver to corner.
Yeah, that was...
But, yeah, Kendrick Singleton, he's a senior... I think he'll be good, but I just question the size. They're really excited about him, though, at tight end. So, and I've seen a couple videos on him, and he looks bigger than 215. Yeah. He really does.
And, the big thing about our offense is, like, the tight end means a lot. Because, you take away Ebron, that was
a huge loss. We haven't really recovered.
That was Renner's bread and butter. And because it's a guy who could just sit in the zone and everything, and he was
he was physical too. Yeah. He was big and physical. That's the thing I think that.
So the tight end is very important in what we do in the spread and everything. So hopefully he can block as well because.
Yeah. When you look at, we got guys that are bigger.
Yeah.
You got Brandon Fritz, who he came in as a wide receiver. Now he weighs just a pedestrian 245. He'll be out there. Caleb Samuel, 6'5" guy, he just weighs 275. Yeah. He's a big guy. And they've said that he's shown some real improvement. And then you got two true freshmen that can factor in as well. Guys like Carl Tucker.
Yeah.
Expect him to factor in. He's extremely talented. He came in as an athlete, so really that's a guy I'm keeping my eye on. And Jake Vargas, I think he's going to be really good. We got him late in the recruiting trail, and he's going to be something special, being 6'4", 230. I think that's the playing weight you want to be at. You're tall. You're not too big to where you're just a blocker, but you're going to do some special things. Sam Eason, he's a walk-on freshman, I think. I don't really know a whole lot about him, but never know. From there, we're going to move on. Okay, this is the area of question on this offense. We don't have many question marks on this offense. Not as many as we've had in the past. There are still some on here. But when you look at the offensive line, we'll start on the outside because this was the biggest area of question last year. Now, I think one guy that is for sure got to be a starter is John Heck. I like the way he played last year. I think he's the anchor of that for the offensive tackles.
Yeah.
For sure, coming into this year. But other than that, these spots are not really locked down. I believe Bentley Spain will be the starter if we play play week 1. I think that's who they're going to end up going with. But you're one of your favorite guys, John Ferranto, is going to be out there. He had experience last year, so keep an eye on him. William Sweet, another monster true freshman. He's had a great fall camp, so he could get his name in there as well. R.J. Prince, he had a weird offseason. He went from starting he was on the offensive line, and then when they went into summer camp, he was with the defensive line. He played defensive tackle. Then, when we get into fall camp, all of a sudden he's back in offense.
Right.
So he's been moving around. I don't know what's going on with him, but he could work his way in there too as well. He's a great guy, by the way. Myers Colvin's another one. He's a senior, so, I mean, you never really know what he could do as well. Offensive guard, probably our favorite. I think a guy who could be a first-team All-ACC guy, Landon Turner.
Yeah.
Big guy.
That's a big man.
If he can stay healthy, he's going to be perfectly fine. The other starter should be Caleb Peterson. I liked what he did last year, and I think he'll be fine again this year. Mason Beal as well. Brad Henson. Unfortunately, we lost Will Dancy for the season, so that hurts us for sure. And Will, if you are watching this, we of course wish you a speedy recovery. Jared Cohen was another guy. He was talented. Freshman last year, but he has not been with the team. He has some sort of family issue or something off the field.
He hasn't been seen in a while.
He hasn't been seen. So hopefully, we want you to come back. But if it is a serious problem, of course, as Tar Heel fans, we understand, and we hope whatever it is gets you can hopefully get resolved or whatever is going on. Other guys, these are guys just listed as offensive linemen. A lot of these guys are young. Tommy Hatton. He was the number 2 center in the country that got recruited. So keep an eye on him.
Big time recruit.
Yes, he was.
I've read a lot about him.
They think he's going to be something special. Charlie Heck, that's another one. I know Coach Fedora has talked a lot about him playing very well on that offensive line as well. Guys like Jonathan Troll, Thomas Bernhardt, Harris Height, Mark Updegraff, and Nick Polino. Any of these guys could factor in before the season's over. I think, so overall, since we finished that, I mean, with the offensive line, I think we're a better unit than we were last year. We got some more depth, but I still think we're unproven. There are question marks here, and I think it's our biggest question mark offensively.
I believe that the play of the offensive line will determine how the offense performs as a whole. Because you saw, last year, we started off kind of slow as a unit. A lot of slow starts. We put up points, but then you saw the stretch, where we got bowl eligible and everything. Offensive line was playing great, and then the state game, we got manhandled by State's.
That was horrible.
Which should not happen.
They weren't that talented. I mean, they're good.
Yeah, it's State. Come on.
So Gio took a punt back on that, so.
I believe if they're consistent from week 1 through 12, we have an offense that can compete. If they're solidified, we gotta stay healthy. Everyone knows their jobs. There's chemistry. So I think it's the biggest question mark, and I think that determines how we play the entire year offensively. Because it affects pass protections. And the big thing is the running the football with our running back. That
was the thing. The pass protection, when you look at it last year, our pass protection wasn't really that bad. We weren't awful protecting the quarterback. It was, when we tried to run the ball, complete disaster.
The point of the attack in the run game, and we can never get to the second level, with our blocks and everything. And that's unacceptable in our offense. With the talent we have at the running back position. Because if you can spring our running backs to the second level, it's watch out. Because we could be put points on the board like that.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and it's not like these guys aren't talented.
Yeah, no, they're good.
I mean, we've got some guys that come in here
and we've got a great offensive line coach.
Yes, we really do. Yes.
So, biggest question mark, and if they produce, I think the Tar Heel offense will be, an elite offense. So
I mean, I think we're going to be one of the best in the ACC.
Yeah, well, we should. I mean, there's not really, Clemson's could be good, but Other than that, you got Georgia Tech's.
That's because they run the one style of offense.
Yeah, that you really can't prepare for in a week.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen.
That's why a lot of teams like to have a bye before they have to play them.
Yeah, and even then, you still don't. You could have a couple weeks off.
If you're Carolina, you give up 68 to them, I believe, after coming off a bye.
Didn't they kill someone in their bowl game, Georgia Tech?
Yeah, Mississippi State.
Yeah, they beat them by how many?
They beat them by like 18.
Yeah, they ran all over them. I mean, they had a month to prepare for them.
Yeah,
it's
hard.
Come close to stopping them. We've known that. We've felt that pain before. But yeah, like you said, I think overall the offense should be one of the best.
Yeah.
I really think my thing about Seth Luttrell was I think last year.
Well, you see, now he's not even a offensive coordinator. It's
No, there's Co. He's still considered our offensive coordinator.
not by something I saw. It's Brewer.
Really?
And then I believe is it Catholic? I believe so. He is now listed as I think he's listed as an offensive coordinator.
Wow. Okay.
Probably one of those
I like
where he's
Catholic though. I do like him.
He's probably like his title's probably like a running game coordinator or something like that.
I don't think it matters. I think all of them. Yeah, because I know he's the tight ends coach.
Yeah.
Luttrell's the tight ends coach. I mean, we all know who our favorite coach is.
Yeah.
We love Mr. Keith Heckendorf. We love him.
I think he's gonna be a stud. But yeah, I think the outlook's very bright. It's an offense that can average 40 points a game.
And the schedule sets up to where we should be averaging pretty high points per game.
And when we talk about the defense later, the defense is going to be improved, but there's still going to be some games that we're going to have to outscore people.
I mean, we're going to
because we're not going to be there.
When we talk about the defense, we are going to point out a lot of positives about them because there is a lot of positives about the defense. But
there's a lot of talent in Chapel Hill.
Exactly. So we finished the offensive portion of this. We're doing our fantasy draft tonight, so we may have some time.
Yeah.
We may do special teams now, and then wait for defense because defense will take us a little while, as kind of like this. But yeah, so if you guys want to check that out, of course it'll be on my channel. And then we'll do the defense as well. Check out any of my other videos, including my interview with head coach Larry Fedora. So thanks for watching, guys, and as always, go Heels.
Yeah, go Heels.